Hey there, my name is John Siskovich, and over the past couple weeks on the YouTube channel, we have been discussing how important it is to stop, look, and listen, linger, graze, noticing the small things and how they affect the big things, and using that information to optimize for happiness. Now, I'm not the only person doing this. If it was only John Siskovich, you'd be like, well, John is this excellent guy and he's got all this energy and there's farming and there's a brewery and there's the YouTube and there's the books and then he takes beautiful photographs. And yes, I do a lot. And not to toot my own horn, but I'm a very busy guy. There are other amazing people who have been doing this as well. I have sponsored 10 farmers to go to the American Pastured Poultry Producers Association conference this year based off of if they bought my chicken tractor design book, built chicken tractors, raised chickens in it, and not only that, but did some linger grazing without any instruction, took some beautiful photographs, and then were using them for marketing and telling their story about raising chickens. Today, we're going to go over some of those photographs from Heather Holland in Maine with Outland Farm Brewery. We're going to look at what Heather's photos are, and then I'm going to show you some simple edits that I would do to make those elevated to the next level. I'll share a resource, and we're going to jump right in this video. Let's go. Let's get started. All right, so on my handy dandy computer setup here, I have a folder with all of Heather's pictures. She sent me 22 pictures, and they tell a wonderful story of a woman who is working her butt off to make her farm work, and she's scaling up. She started with my Siskovich all-purpose chicken tractors, and this year, because she's a good friend of mine, she has scaled up to a different size chicken tractor, and where she had 14 chicken tractors, she fit the same number of birds into 2 chicken tractors. And that's awesome, just awesome. So props, tip of the hat there, Heather. We're gonna start off with an easy one and one of my faves that she took. I got either dawn or sunset lighting where the sun is just above the horizon. It says hot ball right here. And these birds are dramatically lit on the back, from the back. She's standing in the back of the chicken tractor facing forward. And you can see these are birds outside. They've got all this area in front of them. There's depth to the shot. It's wonderful. One of the things that I would change, and we're going to use the simple editor on my iPad live on camera here, not Adobe Photoshop, not Adobe Lightroom. I have those. I use those, but we're going to use the editor essentially on my phone to change this up a little bit. So when I go to edit a photo, I'll hit Auto and see where it gets me. Auto generally brings the mids up a little bit, makes it a little bit more contrasty and saturated, even more than the camera normally does. And generally, I'm pretty happy. But like my general thing lately has been to just hit auto, straighten it, crop it a little bit, either make it a 1-to-1 ratio or a 5:7, and then that's it, I'm done. So I like what auto did. What I don't like right now, and we're gonna hit the cropping option, is when you have straight lines anywhere in your photo, even if it's one straight line, the edge of a building, a horizon, if that straight line is crooked, then it looks a little bit more amateur. You would be surprised that this picture with it off kilter is like a janky shot, all right? But if we're gonna take this, and it's very easy because when I start to adjust, these grids come up, which give me straight lines to reference, right? And we got a little bit of crooked in the door, but this hot white line going through, we want that to sit straight. Maybe we will change the size to a square, 1-to-1 ratio, and zoom in just a little bit. Just a little bit. And we've got a nice Instagram-friendly picture. Because the detail is washed out by the sunlight here, you could put some text in and say like fresh chicken next week, or come pick your broilers up at the farmer's market. And you've got, or this is pastured poultry, getrealchicken.com, all up in here. And you've got the grass, you can talk about your feed. There's birds eating, there's birds walking. There's a big story to tell. So we're going to discard those changes just because I'm going to keep the originals. We'll go out and look at another photograph. This is amazing. Look at all these. These are all original design Siskovich chicken tractors. Heather and her husband Mike made about 14 of these. I had 24 at one point. And you get to this point and you're like, this is ridiculous. I'm moving lots of chickens. Let me build a bigger shelter if that's your design. If you're doing it on a smaller scale, which I still am, I have this many chicken tractors right now in the field with birds in it, and super easy, fast to move. What we get from this photograph is that we have a big blank space here, a big blank space here, and a lot of information. Great for marketing. Because on your website, you can crop this right there. You know, let's actually crop it. I'll show you. We're going to edit. This stuff is just the most fun in the world to me. So we have this very interesting horizontal line. We know roughly, because there's some shape of the hill, it balances out that we're straight left to right. We don't need to do that. But if I wanted to make a banner image for the top of my poultry sales page at Farm Marketing Solutions, we can see my rule of thirds. I'm going to get my middle third with the chicken tractors in it. Watch this. Boom. Oh, man. And we can make this a little darker and then put white text over it and say, you know, broiler chickens or chickens for meat or pastured poultry or Outland Farm Brewery right over the top of this. It's a great thinner banner image for your website that shows you're walking the walk. Your birds are out on grass. There's fresh air. You can use this in the language and the conversations that you have with your customers at the farmer's market to show your production methods. You know, some transparency. Imagine that. So we're going to discard the changes. So this one, I love this. Baby chicks are the cutest thing. Cute cells, fuzzy baby chicks, sitting on top of their feed, going in and out of the hover brooder. The best thing about this for me, we're backlit from a window up here, a light source, but I got the warm pockets from the heat lamps under the hover brooder on the sides. Wonderful. And what's great about this is Heather spent time in her brooder. She didn't say, everybody looks good, I'm going to go. She said, how do I know everybody's looks good? Are the chicks walking through the feed? Do I need to put that top back on the feeder or get a different feeder so that they don't scratch and put the feed into the shavings and waste money? When you're talking about, you know, if you were to edit this and you didn't want to put this big horizontal image, but you needed a cute, we're going to hit auto, brings up those mids just a little bit, and we're going to crop this to a square, and we'll put the interest of that chick right on the cross section of a rule of thirds right here. Just kind of that middle of the chick takes up this part. We're balanced a little bit with this bird. And wonderful Instagram post that grabs your attention. You put something in the caption below of like, we'll be at the market this week, or we got our first batch of chicks in for the season. That means in 2 months we'll be selling chicken at the farmer's market, the farm store, at wholesale, da 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 da. Tell the story visually of the beginning, of when you get the birds, how much you care, what is your personality as you talk about your birds. Put that forward in your marketing language and let people know that you not only care about what you do, but you can show them how much you care with your photography. And Heather has done that very successfully here and elsewhere. Birds out on pasture. There's 2 different types of pictures. Well, there's a lot of different types of pictures with the chicken tractors. We're going to edit this one real quick because hit that auto, brings up the mids, a little contrast, bada bing, bada boom. We're going to go with that same straight line here. That's our straight line. And then we have the visual interest of the birds here. Now with all the birds at the feeder, because you just fed the chickens, you move, you feed, you photograph. Now, if you move and photograph, those birds will be hunting and pecking and eating grass and looking for bugs, and they'll be spread out. And you have that picture that you use to have the conversation with your customers on pasture poultry, the effects of grass, the beta-carotene, the omega-3 fatty acids, the different types of protein that they're getting from bugs in a diverse diet. Now, if you wanted to talk about if you were non-GMO or organic or soy-free, you would have this picture and say, while while our chickens are on grass, and you can see that they're on grass, you can also see that we have to give them supplemental feed. And when we feed them supplemental feed, we get them from, I get my feed from Lightning Tree Farm in Millbrook, New York. Milton, New York. It's an M. And they're 45 minutes away from me. And they grow their own grain. They make their own feed, and I get it fresh. And I'm supporting another local business, and it's organic and non-GMO. Da 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 da. Birds eat grass, and they also eat feed. Here's information about the feed. You would use different broiler pictures at different parts of your farm marketing because you're telling different stories and adding different value in for your customers along the way. Do you have to tell all those stories when you take those photographs in the summer? No, you're friggin' tired, you know? But if you don't stop and linger graze during the season, you won't have this visual information to be able to share with people when you're in the summer and you have a freezer full of chickens that didn't sell and you're like, oh no, I don't have birds out in the grass anymore. How am I going to tell the story of how valuable this is in the freezer, this frozen football? You put that much value in, and if you were having trouble moving it and selling it, if you had scaled up but you weren't ready for that big of a scale and you have now a backlog of inventory, lucky you did some linger grazing, you shot some photographs with your phone. You can talk about the different values that you put into your product so you're not saying the same thing over and over again. So it adds some diversity around one central topic. And you're able in the winter, when you have a little extra time and some breathing room, to build your marketing for the next year and do some pre-sales or get rid of that backlog of inventory because you took that time, you appreciated what you do, you looked at how the little things affect the big things, and you're using that information to optimize for the happiness of your birds, yourself, your farm, and your customers. Thank you, Heather. We're going to cancel out of here. Bada bing, bada boom. I just want one more. The best time of day to linger graze is either at the golden hour, the dawn or dusk, when the sky is beautiful. You have these dramatic views and colors, and just the light is coming in from the side. Heather was out doing chores and took a photograph at sunrise, sunset, with her birds out on grass, the military precision of all her chicken tractors, and she's able to share that story with me, so I'm able to share it with you. This now exists in perpetuity. We can put some text up here that says, have a nice day, getrealchicken.com. And I want to thank Heather for sharing some of these moments with me. The rest of the videos this week are going to be from different people that I sponsored for this conference who have submitted photographs to me of them raising chickens in chicken tractors. This is social proof that people are doing it besides me, and I'm proud and just amazed at how wonderful other people, it's just wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Till next time, I will see you out in the field.